Take back control. Stop letting algorithms decide your news. Get uncensored history and real knowledge to strengthen your mind, body, and spirit. Watch ad-free content now at INeverKnewTV.com preview.
Well, let me hear you say mountain, mountain, mountain.
Fire, what you saying?
Yes, Fire Key, give thanks to life, you know?
Serious thing. We are here again, Ballhead and the Dread. We give thanks for everyone tuning in from those times. Till now, I have to remind the people, make sure you check us out at INeverKnewTV.com premium to get the uncensored interviews, unreleased interviews, and look out for Solid Life Skills Academy, Fire, where we'll be teaching the young brothers about life skills and soft skills that they need. Fire, what we're reasoning about today?
Yeah, but before we even jump into the reason, there's two things I want to tell the people about. So you have the open mic and poetry slam night. Yeah, the Vital Shop and Ballad and Dread podcast. May 4th, 5 to 9 p.m., 1032 Union Street, Brooklyn, New York. So the people them come out. It's a free event. Come show your talent. Come all the vibes as usual. There'll be food there by the Vital Shop and Vital Kitchen that you can purchase for sale. So come all the vibes. And also want to tell the people about the new single Rastafari call. Yeah, Autarchii pushing out a new single, Red Music Group and Colonel Records. So good vibration. The reasoning today is about procrastination, destroying the nation, because a lot of people, this bad habit a lot of people carry out in regards to procrastination. It's really a destroy a whole heap of lives, and the depth of it is not mentioned enough, so I feel like we really have to talk about it, you know.
No, serious thing. And as a elite professional, what do you want to say, master procrastinator back in the day, I can tell you about the transitions and the things that I did. But before I do, I want you to talk about your relationship with procrastination from those times and now.
Yeah, I would say it's a close relationship, you know. Because really and truly, when you don't really see the depth of life and you don't see the ultimate goal where you're heading, I feel like sometimes you procrastinate, and it always lead back to some form of result where it's mediocre. It's a mediocre result. You don't get the best out of anything you're doing, and then you start to complain to yourself and ask yourself, okay, why am I failing, or why am I not achieving these goals? Because remember, I used to procrastinate. Talk about, most people can relate to it probably from an academic level. We procrastinate a whole heap of time. My brain might be different to not really try too hard for school to maintain certain information, but to realize that we procrastinate now. There are certain things, if you could get an A, you end up getting a B plus, or getting something less. And also in life too, there are certain goals and certain aims and aspirations where we really try to achieve, and because of procrastination, it kind of dwindle back and settle back to an extent. So I've been a 50-50 procrastinator in my life, depending on the situation. But overall, never really been the full procrastination type, because we always catch ourselves towards the end and then we try to drive towards the finish line. But anytime we realize that we procrastinate, it kind of stop most of the goals and what we have in our life personally. Yes, I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to it, you know.
No, serious thing, man. And I could tell you, like, when I was younger, I would just sit there and not do anything. Yeah, I would just sit there because you see, the easy way out is the hardest way, and I don't think we understand that, you know. And if people reflect on their life and they look at how they spent their time, because I know people selling all these packages and this and that about time, and I think people have a misconception about time and how time should be spent. So for instance now, right, a person may say, I don't have time, but their idea of spending the time is that, say they want to write a book, right, or they want to write a script, or they want to do something, or whatever they want. In their mind now, they believe they're supposed to have this 5-hour block with no one interrupting them, and this oasis where you can focus. And if you have kids in the family, that's just not the reality. You may get 20 minutes, you may get 30 minutes. But the thing is, do you utilize that 20 or 30 minutes, or do you complain about the fact you don't have the 5 hours? And I think that's where we get disillusioned about our reality. And that's why I'm not a big fan of people telling someone how to be or how to accomplish a goal, because everyone's life is unique and they have to restructure it so it meets their life and their situation, you know. But in regards to the procrastination fire, man, I'm telling you, like, just like you, especially with academics. And I had this little skill where I used to pay attention in class, so I knew where the stuff was in the books. So like I can wait till 4 in the morning to do the paper, but I didn't really have to read because I paid attention and I knew where stuff was. So that was like my little hustle. It wasn't like I was starting from scratch and this and that. But the fact is, I would wait till 4 in the morning before class to do the paper, you know. And as you said, that result is not as good as it would have been if I would have started earlier. For whatever reason, though, later on in life, man, I really started to just do stuff. You know, I think in retrospect and analyzing myself, I had a terrible habit because it's habits. And I want to say this: procrastination is a learned skill, and you got to learn not to procrastinate. So don't feel in a way if you're a procrastinator. I'd ask that you take accountability for it and learn the new skill of not procrastinating. But one of the things I noticed that led to my procrastination was avoiding the hard tasks, right? If I had to check myself the other day, I had something I had to fire. I had something I had to do, right? And we had to watch, well, the covers needed to be washed. They don't fit at the thing. I got to take them to the laundromat. So I'm telling my fire, I got something to do now, right? But I'm telling myself I need to wash these covers. Peep the hustle now, right? So what I'm doing is now I think I'm being efficient, but I'm not being effective. And that's the game that we play. So we busy for the sake of busy, but the busyness we're dealing with is not really dealing with what we need to do. And going back to what I said in regards to learning the skill of not procrastinating, I think the first thing you need to understand or find out for yourself is like, what is the most important thing you need to do, and how does that align with what you're trying to accomplish? And I think I'm jumping ahead of myself because you need to figure out what you're trying to accomplish.
You know, and the funny thing about procrastination, there's 2 points I want to make about that, right? One, there's this misconstrued concept of time. I mentioned it briefly a while ago. This misconstrued concept of time is where I think is messing up everybody, because this concept of I don't have time, and yeah, as I say, life don't stop for you in a year tracks, and you're not being targeted because life don't stop for you. You have to understand your situation and understand how the timing fit within your schedule, within your daily routine to make things can happen. Because if you don't do that, that's when procrastination starts to seep in, and you realize you might be here, and you start going down and down and down and down, and your energy start draining. And the moment the energy start draining because you think about this concept without actually making any form of application, that's when you lose sight of the goal. And then the other piece point I want to mention now is procrastination might seem like an individual thing, you know, but procrastination, because of what I mentioned earlier, that it's a learned behavior, and human beings are creatures of habits. Procrastination is rather not individual, it's more a collective type of thing, and procrastination is a cultural habit. And one of the people them really listen to what I'm saying right now. Procrastination is a cultural habit, and we might not see procrastination as a cultural habit, but it is, because sometimes this is passed down from generations to generations. While some things might seem like a norm to you, it's actually not a norm. So while it might be a norm, okay, I have a task, let's do it just 1 hour before the timeline, or I have a task, let's not come in prepared before we actually attack this task, or let's go and do some research so I can actually know about what I'm doing. We cut out all of those steps, all of those particular things that we need to do to achieve our goal. Why did we cut that out? Because it's not a norm for us to go and research these things. It's not a norm for us to go and collect information and try to process that information into a and so we can understand what we have to do with the finished product. That's all learned behaviors from a cultural standpoint, from your surrounding, more than likely from the household, from the environment. So we need to start thinking about procrastination from a higher level before we can even understand how it really impacts our personal life.
And facts. And before I give some tips on making that shift from being a procrastinator to a person just getting done, there's another aspect too. There's a self-sabotage aspect. We don't want to we don't talk about it enough. Like, people are really scared of things going right. You know, like, life kind of beats them down so much, and like they don't even want to go on the other side of things getting right, because they don't want to. They feel that, how long is it gonna last? This has been my norm for so long, so why? So it's a self-sabotage. So I think procrastination for some, not all, is a means of self-sabotage, in the sense that I don't want to try it. I can't take trying this thing and then not working out the way that I want. Perfectionists really struggle with that too. Perfectionists be chilling, bro. I could easily spot a perfectionist because they gonna chill. Like everything, I'm talking, the sun got to align, fire, money got to be right. Like everything has to be perfect for them to move, and nothing gets done. And that's just a fact. So just observe somebody. You can say, yeah, they're perfectionists, fire. And funny enough, those who get the most stuff done, they don't know what they're doing half the time. They just out here getting it done, fire. I could attest to that, because there's enough stuff I don't know what I'm doing, fire, but I get it done. Because it's funny how you start. Once you start something, everything just fall into place, and if your brain work, you can learn stuff. Another thing I want to touch on, in regards to this procrastination thing, is that there's a spiritual aspect to it too, Farai. Right? Sometimes things need to pause a little bit, but you need to kind of be tapped into whoever you tapped into to kind of get that, that type of energy. So it's like sometimes you're trying to force some things, and sometimes you need to cool off, and sometimes you'll see it as procrastination. So I just want to acknowledge that aspect.
But it's funny. It's funny. I'm love what you mentioned this, because it brings me to the next point, to where there's a confusion between when you need to relax and when it becomes procrastination. I think usually that's the part where most people get thrown into the procrastination box without even knowing, because of course you need that mental health time, you need that meditation time to really relax, and you don't have to always be doing things. Sometimes not doing things is the perfect way for you to go and get up and do things, because you need to relax. You need to make sure you have that time for yourself, and you can think about the strategy and ease off from all of the physical type of work. But during that sabbatical moment, most people just continue that sabbatical moment and use it as an excuse that, hey, I need to relax. I'm always on the go. I'm always doing this, that, and things don't work. So maybe I'm just taking a break right now, and it's normal to take a break. Yes, it's normal to take a break, but that's usually when procrastination come in, and people don't continue or pick up back from where they left off, and there was no new strategy that was gained within that time period. So there's this big confusion between procrastination and taking a break that we need to be careful of, and make sure that we don't confuse the two of them, because if we confuse the two of them, that's going to lead to our own demise.
No, serious thing, man. And I just want to share some tips, and you can share some tips also, in regards to things that you do to stay away from that procrastination lineage, if it's in your lineage, if it's in the bloodline. First thing, I think the first thing, you have to have a realistic approach to the things that you're doing. I think when people get gung-ho or they get excited about doing something, they overbook, and they put too much stuff on the schedule, and they put too much things on there that they want to finish. And when they don't finish it, because it's not realistic to finish it, they become discouraged, and that puts them back in that procrastination mode, right? And also, I spoke on time earlier, and I think you need to stop using other people's time frame. You can use tactics, but everything has to be modified to suit you. So if Farai is making an album, right, and he took 3 months, I can't say I'm gonna take a month to 3 months. I don't know this man's situation. I don't know what he's sacrificing. I don't know what he's sacrificing with his family, with his health. I don't know his financial resources. I don't know his situation. I have to analyze my situation and say, hey, you know what? Well, maybe I can't work on the album every day, but I can work on it 3 hours a week. Now, what you have to do is make sure you are working on that album 3 hours a week. That's where we're messing up. We're not utilizing the time that we have. What some people do is complain and wish they have more time. Then I hear a lot of family people where the wives or husband, and the resentment comes in with the spouse or the family, and this and that and this and that. But it's like, you're not utilizing the time that you have. Give thanks that you have any time. Give thanks that you have any resources. Give thanks that you have a vision and ambition, and do it. But because some people are scared to do it and scared of the outcome, we have to find any excuse not to do it. And that's the hustle. There's another thing you need to do too, man, is that this busy everybody's busy. I don't know. Everybody busy. Fight. You call them, they busy. Straight the voicemail. They busy. Busy is not being effective. And I think we're in a busy culture where it's cool to be busy, but you're busy doing nothing. What are you busy doing? What are you working towards? Is that busyness leading to the end goal? Have you identified your end goal? So that means now you're efficient doing something because you are doing something, but are you effective? Right? Today I have a couple things to do. Two things are very important. Once I'm done with this, I am going to do the two things. Do I want to do them? No, I don't want to do them. They're hard tasks. I'll pop my headphones off right and just knock them out because they're very important for me to do. Then I'll deal with the other stuff. No, I'm not doing the easier stuff first and lollygagging. No, I'm knocking that out now because that has priority. Those are important things. Knock out the important things first. Too many times we play that game and it's like, you know, you got to do that. Bills, man, no, you got to pay his bills. He waiting. Pay your bill right. Next thing you got a late fee. Next thing your credit messed up. Pay your bill. If you got the bread, pay the bill. We avoid, it's like, man, we really avoid these uncomfortable things. And I know it's a deeper thing just in life, but it's like, it's too much avoidance. And excuse me, we had a reasoning with Lawrence Funderburk, NBA, former NBA player, and he was saying how the graveyard is the wealthiest place on earth because that's where everything's buried. And it's true because I don't think, I want to hear what you have to say on this, right? And we go on. I don't think people understand like utilizing their gifts and maximizing their life. I think because they have a selfish approach, it's like when it's presented, it's more selfish in the sense that, man, like you have to utilize your gifts, right? But like, you're not sharing your gifts with the world, Fighter. You have so much to offer the world. They're on thinking so minute in regards to maybe some money they could make or some praises. Like you have a gift to impact people and share with the world. It has nothing to do with monetary. You have a gift to share with the world. And because you're scared to grow in your gift and utilize your gift, you don't share it. What is up with that?
It's a spirituality. It take a certain type of spirituality to really tap into that gift and understand how much it can impact the world. So I think it's a mindset part. It's a mindset thing, right? So from a mental standpoint, a lot of people are not mentally prepared to share that gift with the world. And sometimes we really there's two ways you have to think about it where we understand because they've been taught to have fear. And with that fear that they've been taught to have, it limits them from actually sharing that gift. And then they've been taught that everything is based around finance. And because everything is based on finance, because they might not be getting that financial gains when they just start off or doing that task overall, they can't associate that with any form of gift that the world should be receiving that can actually benefit the world or benefit any individual at all. So with these type of limitations, it kind of take a toll on the brain, and the brain can't really look at it from that. So the spiritual is always important in all of these things where you have to come into your meditation, and then it leads towards the solution too, because when we think about approaches that people need to make, that attitude of gratitude is one that really helps with procrastination. Like for instance, if you start a task and you plan to accomplish something within this day, yeah, the task is not overall, it's not completed overall. But once you take on this task, and if you at 10 p.m. you decided that you wanted to send out 2 emails, and once you send out 2 emails for the day, then you feel accomplished. You should be congratulating yourself for that. That's an attitude of gratitude. Yo, I'm grateful. I actually achieved this goal. This is a goal of yours for today, not the overall goal. But because we always think about the finished product as human beings, the way that we're trained. So we're trained to think about the finished product. And because we did not achieve the finished product, we think we have failed in the grand scheme of things. No. So pat yourself on the back for all the good things that you've done, and that will lead you towards the greater accomplishment that you will be achieving. And the last piece of it now is I mentioned the schedule and timing and thing, but really and truly, there's the customization that I mentioned is one of the most important pieces, because there's no way, no matter how great your brain is, that you can maintain and retain all of this information just in here without having some form of schedule to react to, something realistic to react to. So if you need a whiteboard that you need to get to write down those dates, write down those time, and make things realistic and achievable, if you have that phone, you always on that phone. Set some reminder on that phone. You have that notes section. If that works for you, you have your Google Sheets. If you have Google Sheets or that Google Doc and that works for you. Any form of methodology that really works for you, but you have to track down this thing and make sure there's a there need to be a formality to it. And I think as human beings, sometimes we tend to run from the formality of a lot of these things because the formality makes it seem boring or it needs to be too structured. And that's not me, because that's one thing I hear all the time. Oh no, that's not me. You know, what do you mean that's not you? To be organized is not you. How can you say it's not you to be organized? That sounds ludicrous when you think about it. And if you don't think anything much of yourself, how do you plan to actually achieve a set goal or even move on from that basic structure for continuous striving and rising, you know?
No, serious thing, far. I'm telling you, and um, I really encourage people to. You see that apprenticeship and that mentorship is so important, right? And I think that we kind of run away from it for whatever reason, but everything is learned. I've been really analyzing this whole assuming people should know stuff, right? I really feel people should be taught a lot of things more than we want to acknowledge. And getting stuff done is a learned thing too. I don't think it's a natural thing, right? So maybe it is for some one person, but then we use that one person as the bar for everyone else. We have that terrible habit too. But I really believe you should be very proactive in either being within proximity of someone who consistently gets stuff done, or at least conversing with them to get a more realistic understanding of what's needed to get something done. Because too many times, unfortunately, not all the time, the environment that we're in, people aren't really getting things done, and they're giving you information about getting things done, and they don't understand the process. So sometimes they end up pushing you or criticizing you for not getting things done in a certain time frame, and because they never did it, they don't understand how things work. I think most people feel because you start something, it's just gonna finish, not understanding that it don't go like that, fight, right? That's not the case. The thing is, though, that consistency with effort and that repetition, that repetition of getting done those small tasks and knocking out those small tasks that lead to the big victory. Because I think people think it's all about the end goal, when it's like there's so many things you have to accomplish to get to the end goal, and we're wiping out all those things. Not only are they needed for moving forward, but they're needed for learning for moving forward and building up the endurance for moving forward, the fortitude, the resilience for moving forward, because you're going to have a lot of setbacks. It's not going to be moving forward every day. It doesn't work like that. You're going to have a lot of setbacks. Some setbacks may be an hour, some setbacks may be a day, some setbacks may be a month, some setbacks may be a year. That's just the reality when you're really going after something, especially a long-term goal. But if you never did it, you won't understand it. So when you do get that resistance, now it's like, oh, then you just back on the sideline with everyone else who's been on the sideline. So I think that, like, you have that's why it's very, as I said, proximity or to reason and take up some type of mentor, because it will give you a better perspective of what you're doing. And when I say you replicate the behaviors, but not fully, because you restructure how it works for you. And another thing I want to say, far, especially for the brothers out there, you need to utilize your time better, because there's a correlation between wasted time and wasted talent. And this younger generation, they're visual people. They don't hear too much talking. And a lot of us are setting a bad example for them, because we're not out here getting things done. You tell them to do something and you're not out here getting things done. So it's kind of tricky now. We're losing our credibility with the youth, and they're looking at people who are getting things done, but they're getting things done in the wrong avenue. And we need something to balance that out. So, brothers, I do encourage you, if you are a procrastinator, if you are burdened by fear, ask you to just start today and start with a small task and hold yourself. Okay, it could be something that simple, like, you know what, bro? I'm just gonna cook tonight. I'm gonna cook for my family tonight. Right? What's the first step? Writing down the ingredients, checking in the house, see what you have, what you need. Get your behind outside, get to the store, get your ingredients, get to the house, and hot up that pot.
You know, the funniest thing you mentioned, that, and the funniest thing when we mentioned, well, the point I make earlier, that was the reference to it, you know, just so who can bring out the garbage, like attitude of gratitude again. Like when we bring out the garbage, we congratulate ourselves because we say now the house clean. And if you think about it from an allegorical standpoint or metaphorical standpoint, you have to keep your house clean and bring out all of the garbage then, because sometimes it's a bunch of garbages that we really have within the space. And that space now is the mind we're referencing. The garbage that we have in the mind, if we don't bring out that garbage, then the place become toxic and it becomes so filthy and the mind become polluted. And all of this pollution is a really divert we from the actual point we're trying to get across at. So a man spend all MD now looking on the internet, watching people doing all of these things, and he thinks that this is the reality. And not understanding that all of these videos were met with a specific outcome, a specific goal in sight. And now you know lose so much different time paying attention to that, thinking that this is the reality without even attempting anything at all. Now, so it gives a sense of illusion, and that illusion now is a really take over your life and cause the procrastination to the seeping, because you're so entertained by all of these different things taking place that one, it's giving you an illusion of things just happen like that without the actual process. Things can fail, and because when things fail, it's because you didn't do it right. You can do it 100% right and things still fail. So all of these different things that we internalize, we need to realize that we just take out the garbage out of our mind and make sure we have a free environment. Once we have a free environment, we can achieve some different things. So you have to pat yourself on the back and have some small goals. And those small goals lead up to medium goals, and those medium goals lead up to large goals. But no matter how large of a goal you plan to accomplish, there must always be small goals in that can motivate and boost your spirit. And once it boosts your spirit, then great things can happen.
No, big time, man. And remove distractions from your life, yo. You need to identify those distractions, like Fire was saying, and you need to remove them, whether it's digital or people. Too much time is wasted on distractions. And some of those distractions you utilize to keep you distracted so you ain't got to do what you know you should be doing.